My name is Professor Mark Williams. I am Emeritus Professor of Clinical Psychology at the University of Oxford, and I'm co-author of Deeper Mindfulness, this new book that's come out of 10 years of reflection and research on how to deepen your mindfulness practice. And it follows on from our book of 10 or more years ago, Mindfulness: Finding Peace in a Frantic World, which I co-authored with Penman.
That book is now used in health systems around the world to help people cope with anxiety, stress, depression, and even chronic pain.
The Deeper Mindfulness is an 8-week program. Week 1 starts with finding your ground. And that means finding a place in the body or the world around you that you can come back to when your mind wanders. We get very distractible much of our life, so it's really useful to train the mind to come back, to attend where you want to place it. So finding your ground, week 1 does that. Week 2, the emphasis is on taking a pause, to befriend the mind, to gather the scattered mind. And what that teaches us is to, when we're busy during the day, but also during our meditation, to practice taking a deliberate pause, to notice where the mind has gone, and then, there and then, to notice what the mind is trying to do for us, how it's trying to do the best it can, to plan, to remember, to remind us of things we've forgotten, so we can bring a sense of kindness, appreciation, even thanking the mind. Gratitude for the mind means that we don't get into a battle with the mind. That's what week 2 teaches. Week 3 brings us into the heart of the feeling tone, the Vedana, the sense of pleasantness or unpleasantness that happens with everything that arises in the mind and the body. All thoughts, all emotions, all body sensations, all sounds have a quality of pleasantness or unpleasantness that normally we ignore, we miss it, we don't see it, and yet it drives much of our moods during the day. It pushes and pulls us around. In this meditation, we begin to focus specifically on that sliver of the moment where the feeling tone appears and then disappears. And we stay a while there to see what it is, to register it. And then, by naming it, pleasant or unpleasant, it changes our relationship with it. It helps us to see it more objectively, in a more sort of decentered way. And in that way, we can move in close without getting entangled by our emotions that would normally follow it. Week 4 is about restoring balance. Having seen our feeling tone, having appreciated the pleasantness or unpleasantness of what goes on in the mind, we allow it to have its voice. And we do that by saying it's okay not to like it if it's unpleasant, or it's okay to like it if it's pleasant. Because the reaction that we normally have to feeling tones are based on the sense of pleasantness or unpleasantness, but it's natural to feel pleasant if something is pleasant. And it's natural to feel unpleasant if there's a pain around, or a toxic memory, or a regret. But by saying it's okay not to like it, we're making friends with the mind in a way that allows us to prevent the reactivity that we normally would have cascaded forward. That allows us to come back and to get a sense of equanimity and balance back into the mind. Week 5 takes all of these learnings that we've done in weeks 1 to 4 and sees the feeling tone that comes not from something occurring at the center of our minds, but just at the fringes of consciousness. It's called feeling tone at the fringes of consciousness. Memories are consolidating all the time, the mind is planning all the time, the body is acting and reacting to that without our being aware of it. But each of it can have an echo of feeling tone, and breath by breath in this week, we begin to see that more clearly, and we begin to see how the mind gears up for action even when it's not necessary. And by saying to ourselves, no action needed right now, it lets go of these irrelevant action and clears the space for wise responding and wise action when it's actually needed. Week 6 is called bad weather flying. Like a pilot needs to learn to fly a plane in both good weather and bad weather in order to stay safe. So we know that sometimes in our life there's going to be turbulent times. There's going to be things, sudden storms in our life too. And so we need to learn to take the practice that we've been learning in the book Deeper Mindfulness and apply it to difficult emotions, difficult situations. And that's what we do in week 6. Week 7 is called Reclaiming Your Life. It's taking the learnings that we've done and applying it to everyday life. one of the most common things that happen as we juggle all the things that we need to do is, in order to focus on one thing, we have to damp down the other things that would distract us. And that damping down can end up doing such a good job that we end up not enjoying the things that we used to enjoy. And this week is focused on a step-by-step getting back to joy, a step-by-step getting back to nourishing your life in the way that perhaps once happened, but has now a distant memory. And so week 7 is called Reclaiming Your Life. It brings all the new learnings to bear on the way in which you move through your life day by day, choosing action, choosing when to rest, and looking after yourself. Week 8 will review the whole program. It will give you the whole sense of what delights, what difficulties, what you've discovered, and give you also the ability to plan out the future. If you choose to continue your mindfulness practice, it gives you some ideas for how to do that. It also builds in something that was a feature of our previous book, Mindfulness: Finding Peace in a Frantic World. It gives you some habit releases that you can try out and have some fun with. So it gives you everything you need to build mindfulness into your life as your life unfolds from day to day, month to month, year to year, into the future. And we wish you well with that.